Yo, what's up guys? Got PokeaimMD here with my week 3 battle of the Smogon Premier League. This week I am playing Sun and Moon Ubers. I pretty much figured, I figured I would eventually be put into this tier, either if Ollie didn't want to play, my boy Problems, or if something happened. In any case, we are playing Astounded. Now, his team is straight up hyper offense. I haven't seen Frostlass and Ubers since Black and White, but it does the exact same thing that Frostlass does in every tier. Sets up spikes, taunts, Destiny Bonds, things like that. Icy Wind as well, that way it can beat Pokemon such as Deoxys, Focus Sash Deoxys. You Icy Wind them first turn, lower their speed, get up a spike, taunt them, whatnot. But my team was created by my boy Tony Flagon and myself. It's a very fun team. I love the way it came out. The idea of this team is using Specs of Eltal with U-turn to get in Pokemon like Xerneas, like learn Pokemon like Xerneas, go for U-turn as they come in, or support Arceus. Get in my Mega Gengar, get the Mega Evolution, and then either trap them and knock them out if they choose to stay in, or get off a Will-O-Wisp plus Hex on something else. Now, again, he has brought Hyper Offense with what I'm expecting to be Stealth Rock Dialga. Typically, when you see Dialga plus Groudon, it's usually Stealth Rock Dialga, mainly because Dialga works as a switch-in for Primal Kyogre, something that obviously Groudon does not like. So my thought process when looking at team preview was, okay, he's going to lead off with Spikes Frostlass, that's Stealth Rock Dialga, that's probably Double Dance or some type of Rock Polish variant of Groudon, which he really likes. That's Dragon Dance, maybe Facade, Double Edge, Salamence, Scarf Lunala, and I'm expecting that to be Swords Dance Extreme Speed Arceus, otherwise known as E-Killer, mainly because he has Lunala, and as that is his Ghost, I doubt that Arceus would be Ghost as well. Though if it was Ghost, it would also make it easier for Gengar because that thing is weak to Hex. But in any case, I decided to lead off with my Yveltal because, like I said, I do have the U-turn, and what I can do is break its Focus Sash with U-turn. I don't care if he went for Ice Wind either because obviously Oblivion Wing would recover and it wouldn't do too much because Frost Sash is pretty weak. But gets up his Spike as he should, as I can U-turn out of there, break his Focus Sash, go out to my Gengar because of the new, obviously, Mega Mechanics. I get the auto 394 speed, which is amazing. He does not have a Ghost switch in, so I can go right for Hex. He wasn't trapped there. Well, obviously he wasn't trapped. He wouldn't have been trapped there anyway because I had Levitate at first. Not Levitate. Wow, rest in peace, Gengar. I had Curse Body at first, but he has no Ghost switching. He doesn't know if I have Shadow Ball or not. And you don't switch in Extreme Speed Arceus unless you set up. Typically Gengar switches in, so it was pretty safe for me to go for Hex right here. Curse Body unfortunately disables me. By revealing Hex, he probably knows that I'm a Will-O-Wisp variant. Now, Salamence comes out. Funny thing about this is I was actually HP Ice Mega Gengar right before the battle started. I was actually HP Ice Mega Gengar. Back in the day, I used HP Fire Mega Gengar. I created that with my boy Edgar, and I wanted to show off HP Ice Mega Gengar as well because I thought it would be really cool considering Salamence is running around and it can knock it out if it's not bulky Salamence. But I changed it right before the Focus Blast. The way Salamence comes in, I'm pretty confident that it is Dragon Dance, Facade, Double Edge, and Roost, just based on that, or either like that or a Refresh set with Double Edge, or maybe Return or Frustration. But I do have an Arceus Ground on my team with Ice Beam that does Revenge kills Mega Salamence, especially with my special attack investment. However, because he does have Dialga and Groudon on his team, Primal Groudon, Dialga, I want to keep my Arceus Ground healthy as I don't want it to be pressured by a Mega Salamence. So I know I could take a +1 attack. I don't want it to be pressured by a Mega Salamence and we weaken to the point where it can't check Dual Dance Groudon, which I'm pretty confident that it is. Or just the Rock Polish Groudon, or Dialga. So I decided to go hard into my Xerneas. I am a very physically defensive Xerneas. I can tank a +1 Double Edge. I can definitely tank a +1 Double Edge, and I can knock him out with the Moonblast, and that's exactly what I proceed to do. So, gonna be able to tank this. It does a hell of a lot. I mean, it's Mega Salamence, it's at +1, but the only thing I needed to do was Revenge kill it. Now, Xerneas definitely could have done some work this game, especially because his resistance to Fairy was an offensive Primal Groudon, but I think I did the play. I think I did make the best play possible right there. It's the play that doesn't require me getting swept by Salamence, or doesn't require me weakening my Arceus Ground to potentially lose to his Groudon in the back. So Dialga's going to come out. I'm just going to go for a Moonblast right here as he outspeeds me, knocks him out with Flash Cannon. However, I can go out to my Arceus Ground. I am a very offensive. Well, I'm not very offensive, but I do have some special attack investment, and I'm actually able to knock out his Dialga with Judgment. I didn't expect this, guys. I was really confused that Dialga just dropped because, well, not that I wasn't confident that I wouldn't knock out an offensive Dialga with Judgment because, like I said, I do have special attack investment, but I was really confused that it dropped because I was expecting it to be Shuka Berry. Typically, when you run Dialga, your Shuka Berry, that allows you to weaken Pokemon like Primal Groudon, but then again, I guess his team doesn't really benefit from Primal Groudon being weakened, considering Salamence sets up on it. His own Primal Groudon beats it 1v1. Lunala doesn't really care, and Arceus can set up on it as well. But either way, getting rid of Dialga, huge. No Stealth Rock for my opponent, and I was really confident that was Stealth Rock Dialga. So Arceus comes out. Now, my game plan right here is, okay, go for Judgment, weaken it with the Judgment, find out its EV spread based on the Judgment's damage, and then play from there. That's exactly what I proceed to do. So Arceus comes out. I'm going to go right for the Judgment. I do 33%. So based on that damage and the fact that I see leftovers, I know that he is a really, really, really bulky Arceus, near max HP. Now this play right here is me going out to my Deoxys. In order to explain it real quick, basically if you went for a second SD, I extreme speed with Arceus. I put it in, Deoxys. I extreme speed with my Deoxys attack. Put that boy in range of Focus Blast from my Gengar, and then knocked it out. And this was still the best mid-ground play, I feel, because weakening my Arceus ground, I can't do that. I can't let my Arceus ground be too weakened because I need it in order to take on Groudon. At this point, I did want it to be able to take on Groudon because I wanted a reliable switch into Groudon. Assuming things don't go right for me, I wanted a reliable switch into Groudon. So I went out to my Deoxys because if he Swords Dance up again, like I said, I extreme speed, that puts him in range of Focus Blast. Mega Gengar comes out, Shadow Tag, you cannot switch. I knock it out with Focus Blast, assuming I hit. And if he knocks me out, so be it. I can't risk my Mega Gengar coming in directly on this. He could have went for Shadow Claw this turn, he could have went for Earthquake. So I go out to my Deoxys, he does end up going for that extreme speed, completely fine. I was willing to sack Deoxys to get in my Mega Gengar. Now I have a decision to make. It's either go for Will-O-Wisp to cripple him, that way my Groudon can take him on, or go for Focus Blast, and pretty much the exact same thing. My Groudon still takes him on. However, obviously I take a +2 Earthquake or a +2 Extreme Speed, but I decided to go for the Will-O-Wisp. Thankfully this week I'm actually able to land the Will-O-Wisp, so Arceus has been crippled. I mean, regardless of the burn, he's still going to be able to knock me out with the Shadow Claw, as now I can go out to my offensive Primal Groudon and do some damage. If I had Fire Punch, I would have went for it, but I do have the Precipice Blades. I'm offensive, but I'm also very bulky as well. I mean, it's Primal Groudon, so what can you expect? He goes for Swords Dance, which is good, cancels out that burn, as I can go right for the Precipice Blades. It is an easy 2-hit KO. Now, I could have went for the Stealth Rock here, which would have broken Shadow Shield. Wow, I was going to say Shallow Shield. Shadow Shield, which is the equivalent of Multiscale. If you guys didn't know, I could have went for that there. But I decided I don't want to mess around with rolls. I also don't know if he has Earthquake on his Arceus. So at this point, I was thinking he might have been Refresh or Recover or Sub. He actually likes Sub SD Arceus a lot. He used it before. So he goes for Extreme Speed. I'm thinking he probably doesn't have the Earthquake then. I can knock him out with Precipice Blades. Now, this Groudon spread has enough speed to outspeed support Arceus or max speed Arceus after a Rock Tomb, because my Groudon is packing the Rock Tomb. I didn't want to reveal that, but basically I have a ton of speed on my Groudon, usually more than the standard Rock Polish Groudon. So I am actually able to outspeed his Primal Groudon, go for the Precipice Blades, and I miss. That's so unfortunate because it would have been able to knock him out 100%. He's offensive Groudon. I mean, the only reason you would go out to your own Groudon is because you're offensive. It actually turns out I was 1 point faster than his Groudon, which is a lot. That means his Groudon's actually running 248 speed, which also means that if it is, again, Rock Polish, which I'm pretty positive it is, and he did confirm it later, it was Rock Polish. He's running max attack, that speed number, and then he has a lot less HP than the typical Rock Polish Groudon. But unfortunately, I missed Precipice Blades. I can't really complain. I mean, I missed, I hit 2 out of 3. I did just 100% win the game though if that hit, because I knocked out Groudon. He went out to Lunala, was forced to go for Ice Beam. Groudon lives that. I go for Rock Tomb to lower its speed on Scarf Lunala, and then I just revenge kill it with my Yveltal in the back. But unfortunately that's not how it happened. He dodges the Precipice Blades, able to knock me out. I can go out to my Arceus ground. Now, right here, and again, I'm sorry to pause, but this is a high level match, and I want to tell you guys my thought process behind every single turn that I feel is very important. Now, I do have Yveltal. I know he's going out into Lunala. You're 100% going out into Lunala. Specs Yveltal knocks out Lunala through through a Shadow Shield with Dark Pulse, so you can't let Groudon be weakened or beat down. Also, my Arceus ground is not in range of Precipice Blades yet. As long as I'm above 60, I think 65%, I don't go down to Precipice Blade from an Adamant Max Attack Primal Groudon. So I got to my Arceus ground. I had a decision here. Do I double into my Yveltal knowing that he's going to Lunala and go for Dark Pulse, or do I make the play of just going for Judgment to not to a KO, but to break Lunala's Shadow Shield? And I actually just decided to go right for the Judgment. I didn't want to make the double at this point. He does go out to Lunala. Now, I could have recovered stalled this Lunala because I was pretty confident that it was Choice Scarf, but I didn't want to risk the freeze. So I actually decided to do is go for a Judgment again. And the reason I made this play is because Yveltal cleans up. Yveltal tanks an Ice Beam, which you'll see in a bit. Yveltal tanks an Ice Beam, goes for Oblivion Wing, recovers up enough versus Lunala, and then outspeeds Groudon and recovers up enough that it takes 100% of the time, well, not 100% of the time, bar crit. It takes a Stone Edge from Adamant Max Attack Primal Groudon. So I go out to my Yveltal, confident that I have the game because I can click Oblivion Wing, and he freezes me. And he freezes me, come on, within the last turn of the game, and he's able to knock me out with the next Ice Beam. Now, throughout the entire game I was joking around, and so I didn't get upset. I was like, okay, I was just going to flinch you with Dark Pulse, but basically I clicked Oblivion Wing there, and I won the game, and I'll actually show you, I recreated this with my boy MV, just to show you how the end game would have been. And by the way, the Groudon that he has, this is MV's the Uber Lord, the Groudon that MV has is actually bulkier than the Groudon that Astounded had, since he had 240 HP, which is why he was confident bringing in Inverse Mountain Groudon, but I have more than that. So basically, I'll show you how it works. I go for Judgment as he switches in Lunala, which is fine. I hit it with two Judgments. I hit it with two Judgments here as he goes for Ice Beam, and what I decided to do here is obviously defog because I want pretty much as close as possible. He's at 40, before he was at 41, that's fine. So I defog here, that way he can go for the next Ice Beam and knock me out. And then what I do is I go out into my Yveltal, I click Oblivion Wing. This is my entire thought process. I calc both of them the entire time. If I went for Dark Pulse, I had to flinch Groudon, but I didn't go for Dark Pulse. So the funny thing is that Envy freaking freezes me in the Envy freezes me in the recreation, but I do thaw, which is not what happened in the SPL game. I go for Oblivion Wing, I get back up to 72%, he goes up to Primal Groudon, I outspeed that thing, I go for Oblivion Wing, it is a solid 2 KO, I am back at 100%, Primal Groudon cannot knock me out with Stone Edge unless it crits me, and I win the game. That's exactly what would have happened had he not froze me. Obviously, the Precipice Blade miss also sucked as well because I could have won faster without having to deal with that. And then I could have went for Rock Tomb versus Lunala, lowered speed, and then go out to a Yveltal and outspeed it. But basically, that freeze killed it. The miss killed it. I mean, missing is on me. Missing is definitely on me because if I didn't want to miss, I could use Earthquake. Though it is obviously weaker, I could have used it. And but there's nothing I can do about a freeze. I can't. I can't, like, crits happen. I have to take those into account. But freezes, like, I can't. I don't know. It's annoying, to say the least. It was a fun game, though. It was definitely a fun game, but I feel like I keep getting the short end of the stick, man, in these games. Oh, well, I tried my best. But like I said, yeah, I also wish that I had kept it HP Ice Gengar, because like I was like joking around the entire battle. I talked about how I was gonna make a new RMT called Mega Gengar is cool, because I like to have fun when I'm playing. I said reveal the Refresh versus Arceus. I said, yeah, man, I was gonna let the miss slide because I was gonna flinch you with Dark Pulse. But yeah, I basically clicked Oblivion Wing. I won the game, and then I got frozen. But that's the game we play, unfortunately. That is the game we play that I choose to play. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you, everybody, for supporting me. I am now 0-3. I will do my best to bounce back in week 4. But yeah, in any case, thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, friends.